Hi, my name's Tabby and welcome back to my channel. Tomorrow I'm going on holiday for a week and I'm so excited. I think it should be quite a good reading week. Should be a lot of relaxing, a lot of time to lie down with a book. So I was thinking I would do a what I read in a week video where I talk you through all the books that I read on my holiday, what I think of them. I love watching these kind of videos, so hopefully you'll enjoy it. We fly early tomorrow morning and the flight to Athens is 4 hours. And then we have a bit of a drive, lots of opportunities to get some reading done. I've got loads of books that I'm really excited about. I'm also in 2 book clubs because I'm really promiscuous and I've saved both of my book club books for this week. So there's 2 books I have to read. I'm such a mood reader. As soon as I know that I have to read something, it makes me want to read it less. But both of them look really good. And hopefully, we'll see, I get to them early in the week so that it doesn't feel like an impending deadline. Anyway, I'll check in with you when I've checked in. But I'm joking, I won't. You can't film at airport security. I'll update you when the holiday starts and I have some thoughts on the books. We made it to Greece and I'm on a boat, which is so cool. Yesterday was mostly traveling. On the plane, I finished the book that I was reading, which is The Score by Elle, which is book 3 in the Off-Campus series. Off-Campus has recently been made into an Amazon Prime TV show, and not gonna lie, I think this is one of the rare instances where the TV series is better than the book series. Obviously, I can't say this with that much gravitas because I have read 3 of the books, but I don't think they're amazing. It's like an ice hockey romance series. Book 3 focuses on Ali and Dean's romance, which was actually kind of in season 1 of the TV series and apparently will be the main love story of season 2. Yeah, I really enjoyed the TV show. Books aren't that great, but it was fun to just read the source material. Then when I finished reading The Score, I started reading This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me by Ilona, which is a fantasy book with such an interesting concept. Basically it starts with this girl called Maggie and she just lives a normal life. She has an apartment in Austin, she's a delivery driver and she loves reading, she's a big reader and fantasy is her favourite genre. And then one day she wakes up and she finds herself in the fantasy world of her favourite book series. She's not like a royal, she has no status, she has no magical powers, she's just literally her normal mundane world self in this fantasy world. Because she has no magical powers, and a lot of people in this world do, it's really, really dangerous. She realises she's in massive danger and she knows how much danger because she's read the books. She's an expert in the world. And then she thinks, okay, so how am I going to survive here? I'm going to sell information about the world because I know what happens in the future because I've read the books. So she starts trading information to survive, but then she can't trade too much information because once the characters start learning things, they change what they're going to do, which undermines the quality of her information. I just think it's such an interesting concept that this normal human gets transported into their favourite fantasy book and is trading information to survive. I am 200 pages in, so yeah. First full day of the holiday. I thought I'd just quickly show you these are the books I've got with me, which is quite ambitious given that I'm also reading books on my Kindle, but I just never know what book I'm going to be in the mood for, so it's better to be prepared. Have come to speeches. It's so windy, I don't know if you can hear me, but it's basically a really, really skinny beach. There's this really weird side plot in the book at the moment where the main character keeps having fish appear, and I'm very intrigued by it. Okay, we've just had another fish and I now have a working theory about this fish situation. I don't want to tell you because I don't want to give spoilers. It's Monday and we've had such a fun day so far. I just finished This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me. It was so good. It was such an original concept and also really well executed. It wasn't one of those fantasy books that everything wraps up neatly at the end. It's definitely going to be a trilogy or a series or something. Okay, I've just googled it and it's going to be a trilogy. The first book that I just read came out on the 31st of March this year, so I'm going to have to wait ages for the second one. It was very detailed world building. It's been compared to Outlander, which I haven't seen, and Game of Thrones, which I also haven't seen, but hopefully that gives you an idea of the scope so that I don't make it feel like homework and so I make it feel like I'm doing something out of choice. I'm going to read one of the 2 book club books. I have Transcription and Brotherless Night. I think I'm going to read Transcription first. It's by Ben Lerner. I don't know anything about it. A writer returns to his college town where he is to conduct what will be the final published interview with Thomas, his 90-year-old mentor. But after he drops his smartphone in the hotel sink, he arrives at Thomas's house with no recording device, a fact he is inexplicably unable to confess. So I'll update you as to what that's like. Such an abrupt change in vibe to go from reading a book about people saving the world and fighting all these wars to a book about a man dropping his phone in the toilet. I finished Transcription and I really liked it. This is why it's fun to have a book club, because I never would have thought of this book. It wasn't on my radar at all. To be honest, from the sound of it, it wouldn't be something that I would pick up in a bookshop. It took me a while to get my head out of the fantasy world and into literary fiction. Basically, this writer goes to visit his mentor for what's going to be the mentor's final interview. And the first part is a snippet of the conversation between the writer and the mentor, but the writer forgets to bring a recording device and doesn't tell the mentor. Part 2 is a conversation after the death of the mentor at a dinner party with the writer and some other people that were really close to the mentor, and the writer's basically just done a speech about this interview in which he revealed the fact that he didn't record, and so as a result part of it had to be retrospectively pieced together or fabricated. Because of the way that the mentor speaks in part 1 in this extremely erratic, dreamlike way, it's quite hard to imagine how you would accurately replicate that conversation without a recording device. And then the final part is a snippet of a conversation between the writer and the son of the mentor, and that's a bit of a vibe change. It explores some interesting conversations, and yeah, overall it's a small book. It's very much no plot, just vibes, talking about interesting things. The people really feel like real people and I really enjoyed it. After I finished Transcription, I started reading Andromeda by McLeod. I'm not many pages in, so obviously I'll give a proper debrief later, but the main thing so far is that Andromeda is absolutely gorgeous. Aphrodite basically gifted her the gift of beauty. I don't actually know anything about the mythology surrounding Andromeda, so I'm quite excited to learn about it. I finished reading Andromeda earlier and I really liked it. And now I'm reading I Want You to Be Happy. I'll update you properly later. So earlier I finished reading Andromeda, which I really enjoyed. At this big party, Andromeda's mum is boasting to everyone about how Andromeda is the most beautiful in all the lands. This really annoys Poseidon. He then ends up making this ultimatum which says when Andromeda gets her first period, if she is the most beautiful in all the lands, then she'll become his wife, but if she isn't, then he'll kill her mum. So she's kind of between a rock and a hard place. Poseidon sends his sea monster, the Cetus, or Ceto, to watch over Andromeda to make sure she's not doing anything to unfairly tamper with how hot she is. And the sea monster's a really interesting character. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well written, really engaging. I really liked the setting in ancient Ethiopia by the River Nile. I started reading I Want You to Be Happy. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm about halfway through, so I'll update you when I finish it. Good morning, it's Thursday now and I just finished I Want You to Be Happy by Calder. I think this book is really well written. It has the same observational, witty, modern feeling of normal people. It feels very Sally Rooney, and it was perfect holiday read because you can just race through it. It's a lot of dialogue, but I think I found it quite sad. It feels almost too realistic about how a situationship can leave you feeling and how close you can feel to someone and then how far apart you can feel from someone. I think it's a really well written book, and I also really enjoyed the fact that my friend Naomi lent it to me and she's underlined bits, so when I was reading it I kind of felt like I had her voice in my head. So it felt at certain points that she was saying, hey Taffy, pay attention to this part, I liked this part, so I enjoyed that. And then I'm not really sure what I want to read next. I bought 3 other hard copy books with me. Travel Light by Naomi Mitchison, which Samantha Shannon has done the introduction for. I think this book was written a while ago, but they've re-released it. Yeah, this was first published in 1952. Apparently, it is quiet and thoughtful, playful and wayward, rich with exquisite world-building detail. It has the gentle magic of a children's bedtime story, yet carries a melancholy and weight that will resonate with adult readers. See, that does sound right up my street, but I feel like that I Want You to Be Happy carried a bit of melancholy, and I'm just not in the mood for melancholy right now. I also think I've been doing this fantasy literary fiction sequence this whole holiday. The feeling of having to adjust to the book is something I don't want to do this time. I also have People Person by Candice Carty-Williams, who wrote Queenie. Dimple, Nikisha, Danny, Lizzie and Prince are half siblings who don't have much in common except abandonment issues, but when a catastrophic event forces them to reconnect with each other, and with Cyril Pennington, the absent father they never really knew, things start to get complicated fast. Sounds pretty good. I like her writing. And then my other book club book is Brotherless Night by Vivi Ganashananthan. I think I'm going to go with People Person. Hi, it's Friday and I'm really enjoying People Person. It's about these 5 half-siblings that don't know each other super well. Their dad got 4 different women pregnant and he's a completely absent father, and then one night they have this dramatic incident. Basically one of them, Dimple, has this on-again, off-again boyfriend who is abusive, and he was strangling her and she pushed him, and then he slipped on some oil and hit his head. She didn't know if he died or what had happened, so she called her older sister because she remembered ages ago her sister said, if you get in trouble, call me. And then all the siblings came around and they're all just working through this emergency situation together. It's really sweet. I'm only this far in, but I'm loving the sibling dynamics and I can tell it's going to be good. I was just thinking though, I do this thing when I'm in a really good mood. Whatever book I read, I'm like, oh, 10 out of 10, amazing book. I feel like I've just been in a good mood all week, so all the books I'm reading, I'm saying, yeah, this is fantastic. I do think they are all genuinely good books. It's a bit later in the day and I'm still really enjoying People Person. I'm on page 209 at the moment. But another reading update is that Sam's just started reading I Am Pilgrim, which I have on my Kindles. We thought it would be fun if we read it together at the same time. So we were just lying on the top of the boat, syncing up I Am Pilgrim. I don't normally read thrillers, but my mum and brother both love this book and said that it's really good. I trust them. But the way that this guy writes and the way that he writes about women is just so funny. It's a quote from the start of I Am Pilgrim. I'm still reeling from the vivid imagining of it all, so I barely register a rough hand taking my shoulder. As soon as I do, I throw it off, about to break his arm instantly, an echo from an earlier life, I'm afraid. It's just so funny. Due to my former work, I had more enemies than I cared to think about and didn't want to start my car engine one morning and end up as a handful of cosmic dust running rings around the moon. This guy is some kind of detective, forensic expert, spy, I'm not really sure, I'm only 6% in. He's just found a victim and he says the type of woman she is young women who mistake People magazine for news and a Japanese symbol on their backs for a sign of rebellion. Just such a funny style of writing compared to what I have been reading so far on this holiday. I am going to stop ridiculing this narrator because I know that the plot of this book is going to be really good, but I just want to read one more part. For context, he's being interrogated. I say it without editorial comment, purely as a matter of record, the women were the worst, or the best, depending on your point of view. The shapeliest of them appeared to think that by leaving the top of her shirt undone and leaning forward, she would somehow get closer to the truth. Wonder bra, I called her. Currently Friday and we fly home on Sunday, and I am double booking it, so it is looking like the second book club book might not get a look in. We're getting off the boat tomorrow and going around Athens, so I think there'll be a bit less reading and a bit more exploring. I'll update you tomorrow probably. We made it to Athens, and on the journey here I finished People Person, which I thought was good but not amazing. I enjoyed reading it, I was entertained throughout. I thought the ending was really nice and wrapped everything together in a really perfect way, but I just felt throughout that people's emotions and decisions were a little bit over-explained. If anyone else has read this, please let me know if you felt the same. I don't think there'll be much more reading done other than the flight home. Oh no! I'm back from holiday. I realised I forgot to film and end this video, but I also do have an update. Earlier in the video I was talking about I Am Pilgrim, which I started reading, and my mum and brother, loads of other people in my life had said that it's really good, but I was ridiculing the writing style and laughing at the way that he speaks about women, and kind of the ridiculousness of how cool seeming the spy thought he was. And I maintain my position that the writing style is hilarious. However, I am pretty hooked by the plot now. I'm 52% in. I think I told you Sam and I started reading the book together, that's why I started reading it. We went from laughing quite a lot about the way that he was speaking about people. Then at the airport, there was a point when we were walking to passport control and we were both reading. Now that I'm back in my normal working life, I haven't read as much, been quite busy post-holiday. It was only at 40% when it got to a point where I thought, okay, I know what the plot's actually about. And basically this guy, the narrator who's the super cool spy, whoever he is, tells you that he is the person who knows the most about this guy who he calls the Saracen, and the Saracen is our villain. At the point I'm at now, I've had the spy's backstory, and then I had part of the Saracen's backstory, and now we're getting to the point of, okay, what's the evil thing the Saracen's trying to do, and how is Super Spy going to stop him? There are a lot of tangents, and it feels very broad in scope and very ambitious in terms of plot, and how much research must have been done to do this. So that's the end of my A Week of Reading video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if anyone has any good summer reading recommendations or anything like that, then please let me know. Bye. Thanks for watching.